Imagine you're running a business and paying a worker $46 an hour to move boxes. It's hard, tiring work. Now imagine your competitor brings in a machine that never sleeps, never takes a break, and works for just $2 an hour. Tesla recently paused production on some of their most popular luxury cars to retool their factories for the machine you're looking at, the Optimus. When you hear the news say the economy is doing great, but your own bank account feels stretched to the breaking point, this 96% difference in the cost of labor is the hidden reason why. Think of it like running a neighborhood lemonade stand. To survive, you have to sell enough lemonade to buy your lunch, pay your rent, and buy a shirt to wear. You have a built-in biological cost just to exist. But if the kid next door gets a magical helper that doesn't need food, sleep, or shelter, you can't compete. The math of your lemonade stand breaks because your competitor has no survival costs. For a century, the rule was simple. If you worked hard, you earned more. But we have entered a phase economists call an inflection point, a moment where the old rules stop working entirely. This chart shows what that means. The flat line is a human's cost to stay alive. The dropping line is the cost of automated labor. We are crossing the historical moment where a robot is cheaper to run than a human. Let's look at the actual numbers. In the United States, an average worker costs an employer about $46 an hour. That includes their paycheck, health insurance, and retirement contributions. A commercial humanoid robot costs roughly $25,000 up front. If you run that machine for 10 years, the math works out to less than $2 an hour. For a business owner, that's a 96% discount on labor. Faced with paying $46 or $2 for the exact same work, every business on Earth is going to choose the $2 option. Now, it's easy to assume every single person is about to lose their job, but a historical pattern shows why efficiency doesn't have to lead to economic collapse. To understand why, we have to look back to 1865. This is an early coal-powered steam engine. At the time, engineers figured out how to make these engines much more efficient. People logically assumed that because the engines used coal so effectively, the world would start mining less of it. This cycle shows what actually happened. Because coal power became cheaper, people found thousands of new uses for it. They built more trains, more factories, and heated more homes. Total coal consumption exploded. Economists call this the Jevons paradox. It explains why the $2 robot might not take your job, but it will change what your job is worth. When work becomes that cheap, businesses don't just stop hiring. They find new, broader ways to use human talent. So if the economy is growing, why does it feel so incredibly hard to get by right now? You are experiencing the squeeze. The things you absolutely need to survive, like your housing, your medical care, and daily groceries, are becoming more expensive at a much faster rate than robots can currently produce them. Because those daily costs are so high, you get locked in. You can't easily move to a new city for a better job or take a risk on a new career because a single month's rent eats up too much of your paycheck. The painful truth of this transition is that initially, the wealth flows directly to the people who own the machines. If you are only selling your hours for wages, you are competing against a machine that has no cost of living. And this isn't just a problem for people working in warehouses or factories. The information sector is taking the hit right now. 44% of major corporations are already planning to replace a portion of their office staff with artificial intelligence within the year. It turns out, writing an email, analyzing a spreadsheet, or drafting a legal contract is much easier for a computer to do than teaching a robot to safely walk up a flight of stairs. If your daily work involves sitting at a screen and processing information, your role is heavily exposed. You have to change how you approach your career. The people who will succeed in the coming years are not the ones who try to work faster or harder than a machine. That is a race you will lose. Remember the Jevons paradox. Just as cheaper coal built the industrial world, the $2 robot will eventually drive down the cost of everything it builds. As housing, food, and energy are automated, their prices must eventually follow that same downward curve. To survive the transition, you have to stop trading your physical time for a paycheck and start learning how to direct these new tools. You have to move from being a laborer to a manager of automation. The financial pain you feel right now is the friction of the world's economic machinery shifting. We are moving toward a world where goods are produced for pennies. You just have to make sure you're the one holding the remote, not the one competing with the robot.